want to discuss what is enlightenment. And by enlightenment, I don't mean what you read about in books or that how you see certain spiritual teachers discussing things, their attitude and everything, because they're up there on the stage and they're showing you that aspect, their teacher aspect. I want to show you what it's really like to be enlightened. The experience of it, the feel of it. I also want to discuss what is not enlightenment. What are theories? What are myths about enlightenment? Enlightenment is simply when you drop your identity with the personal self. You see through the personal story, and you see through all the selfish emotions. These selfish emotions are what I call the ego gorilla. It's like this giant gorilla has got you wrapped up in its arms. It's protecting you from everything. It's protecting you from all these dangers, either real or imagined. It's also trying to give you all this neat stuff, like me, 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 me. You know, you've felt it before. I want, I want, I want. So what I define as the personal self is this ego gorilla, this strong sense of attachment and aversion, as the Buddhists say, and the personal story, the story about your history, everything about you. In other words, my name is Wayne Weirs, but since I woke up, that doesn't feel right for me. The whole last name aspect seems too solid. It seems like it has too much history attached to it. All that stuff doesn't feel like me anymore. My childhood and all that stuff. It doesn't feel like me anymore. Wayne, on the other hand, is what I go by, and on my website I put parentheses around the Weirs part because people have to find me, and I don't want to go changing my name. It just seems inauthentic. Excuse me, I keep hearing what I think is a cat, and I'm out here in the woods and stuff, so, but I think it's just a tree creaking. Anyway, where was I? Oh, Wayne Weirs. Wayne Weirs feels like a story. It has the whole ego story. It's the personal story attached to it. But Wayne, on the other hand, is just a sound. It's just this moment. Like just a second ago, I heard a sound like I thought was a cat. You know, you attach meaning to a sound, you know, but it could just very well be a tree creaking. It could be anything, you know. It's just a sound. So I think of myself as Wayne without that history, and that's what enlightenment is. It is when you see the personal story and you drop it. It doesn't mean I don't have a past. It doesn't mean I don't think I have it. I just don't identify with it. I don't think of myself as that. And that's really all enlightenment is. But a lot of neat things happen when that happens. And that's what I talk about on my website. All these things that happen when you're awake, how clearly you see things, and how your life becomes almost like an extension of the divine. But what enlightenment is not, it's not eternal serenity. It's not perpetual serenity. You still get angry, but it goes away very quickly. You know, you have the conditioning. All your sensations that are instinctual are still there. You still lust, you still have desires, but they're not selfish desires. You know, they're not oh, I gotta have the latest game, you know, I gotta have the latest car, I have to have the most up-to-date fashion. None of these things are important to you anymore, because those are attached to a self. But I'm hungry, you know, I'm horny, you lust, I'm tired, you sleep. You still have those desires because those are physical desires. Another thing that's often confused with enlightenment is the ability to have all these magical powers. And you, like some people say, oh, you can teleport, oh, you'll know everything about everything, oh, you'll be able to read people's minds, you None of this stuff has anything to do with enlightenment. What might be happening, though, because again, enlightenment is just dropping the personal story. What might happen, though, is because there's less of you, there's more of what I call the life force, the divine within, moving through you. And that life force is the same within everything, within the trees, within the water, within the forest. And because there's less of you and it's quieter inside your mind, you sense things, you pick up things, things seem to work out for you. And you can't make it happen, though, because there's no you trying to make these things happen. So that's another thing that isn't enlightenment, magical powers. Another thing which surprised me was that your thoughts don't just end. I thought, oh, when I wake up, I'll not have any more thoughts, or at least I'll be able to control my thoughts. That doesn't happen either, and I've confirmed this with a number of other people who are alive who talk about enlightenment, people you can actually talk to. You still have thoughts. You still get attached to your thoughts. And for the 3-week period while I was going through waking up, actually from the start of my enlightenment to when it ended, that 3-week period, I was very, very concerned that when the thoughts let go of me, I'd find myself back as Wayne Weirs, the ego Wayne, But it didn't. I came back to this present state of, and that's a weird thing. You don't really know what you are anymore when you wake up. But I still have thoughts. That's the important part. I still get caught up in thoughts and stuff, but I have gotten the confidence now that when the thought lets me go, I'll be back in this enlightened state. I'll be back in the state of no self. There's no more personal self. Check my notes to see what else I have on what enlightenment is not. Another thing, probably the last thing of what enlightenment is not, at least in my quick jotting down, is that you think that your emotions vanish. And this I found to be just the opposite. I found that my emotions are so much more powerful, that I love everything. I feel everything. I sorrow for other people's suffering. What's different, though, is they're not personal emotions. It's like I don't worry about what happens to me. I think about people's suffering. I don't even worry about what happens to people, but I think about their suffering. I don't hold on to anger. Anger flares up and it flares right through because there's nothing holding it back anymore, but it's not personal anger. It's not, oh, that bastard did this to me, It's not that at all. There's no me here to be offended. But the emotions are much more powerful because there's nothing holding them back in, So that is a huge aspect of a huge myth of enlightenment, is that you have no emotions, or your emotions are just pure, serenity and pure love. It's not like that at all. Anyway, once again, what enlightenment is when you see the story, your personal story, and you see it so clearly, you see how it sucks. You see how that personal story is causing you all your problems, and you drop it. It's as simple as that. Not the easiest thing to do. I was trying it for 20 years, 30 years probably. But it is as simple as that. You don't have to meditate for years and years and years. You don't have to study detailed texts. You don't have to know all the different words in Buddhism and Hinduism and anything. You don't need to know any of that. All you need to do is learn to see your personal story, see how it's screwing up your life, so it's something you really want to get rid of, and you'll naturally drop it. And I hope this helps.